Hi guys, okay, let's have a quick look at the Dow Jones here. So as per my last video, I do think we have bottomed out. So let's go into it and let's try and figure out where this market is going to go. Okay, so the long and short of it is that almost certainly before the US election, we are going to be at all-time new highs, potentially within 90 days, if not a little bit longer. So I think what's going on here is that we are working some kind of low. There is a very real possibility, I would say at least at least 50, if not 60, 70% chance that we have bottomed. The only way in which we haven't bottomed here is basically if we truncate and we come back down. But this is definitely some kind of selling climax, automatic rally, and it's just going to chop around here, gap and fill, and then eventually go higher. So US election is in November, 90 days out is around summer, and whole, go in May, St. Ledger's Day, that kind of thing. So almost certainly by September, October time, pre-US election, we are going to go higher. Now, a lot of fear, a lot of panic, a lot of people who, making YouTube videos, trying to be all in the videos like Stooge Knight, don't really know what they're doing. Same sort of people who, kind of bought the NASDAQ top and the real estate top and the silver top and Bitcoin 20K, they're calling for, 5, 6, 7K on the Dow. So, as always, just do the opposite of most people and chances are you're going to make some money. So the only way to logically count this, given the fact that everything just seems too early in terms of market cycle, business cycle, and just doing the opposite, is that this is the 1, this is the 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, and it's just a simple A, B, C, D, E megaphone triangle before we then get the 5, and then obviously there are going to be fireworks. So looking at the basic fib relationships, first of all, in terms of time, if I'm right here, and chances are that I am, we extend this market cycle at least a couple of years. So you're looking at a market top 2021 as a minimum, 2022-23, which supports the overall thesis that actually we're not quite ready for this market to top just yet. And then the business cycle, real estate cycle, that'll top a little bit later on, okay? And right now, no one's really panicking in the real estate sector, and I know enough people there to know that it's definitely not this kind of moment just yet. That kind of moment, trying to be all in the real estate videos, that kind of stuff is going to be coming, and this wave 5 could typically, well, in terms of Elliot wave, let's just take away 4 times as much. Well, it's at least 3 times. So, it could be fast, could be slow, but eventually we are going to ground out a nice little clean final wave 5, and then that will then conclude the end, and then Skynet taking over. So but like I said, there could be a possibility of a truncation, but given the fact that we've bounced there 20%, that in itself is a new bull market. So that is the overall count for the Dow. Obviously the S&P and the NASDAQ will then follow, but that then gets you back up to 40,000, well, back up to 30,000 as a minimum. And then obviously the call that I made, I knew here it was going to go 20,000, I knew here it was going to go at least 30. So the call I made was 40,000, and that is purely based on the knowledge and experience that I have, is that given the fact that it's a 100-year bull market, it's going to go off on one, and it's going to end in quite a spectacular fashion. So if this wave is going to be extended, that then gets you easily towards 40,000, and that was always my theory and my working thesis, that the way this market is going to end is not on this sell-off that's come out of nowhere. It's going to end in a parabolic sort of fashion. At the end of the day, there's only one person who calls tops and bottoms, and it's myself. And if I did not see this coming, chances are it's not the top. Plus, I don't like the fact that the top was made at 2 a.m. London time, which is a little bit odd. Tops are meant to be made in the New York session. So if it's parabolic, we get to 40,000, then it's all over. Or if it's not a parabolic move, then at least 30,000. But I can see a situation where the news will now continue to get more and more bearish. like significantly bearish, especially over the next 2 weeks. But actually, the market is just going to stabilize and flatline, and then slowly then make its move higher. Then after this move is complete, well, I mean, let's not even go into what's going to happen after that. We've got a vague idea, you know, is going to be some kind of, you know, correction in terms of size or time, because obviously this was quite a nasty one. And if all that is a 2, then we're going to have a larger degree wave 3, then obviously we could have a large correction in terms of, you know, degree of, you know, size or time. But either way, it's likely it's going to be a mix of both, given the way that we've ended. And this is the grand super cycle count. You know, this is what we've all been calling for. Well, certainly I've been calling for this, and this is the bigger count. You know, what's really going on here is multiple degrees of trend. But you know, if everyone is trying to be in the videos right now calling for 2000 on the Dow, and you know for a fact these people have purchased UK tech stocks in 2000, they were going in the real estate videos in 2006 and they bought Bitcoin at 20,000, you kind of know that actually this market is not going to go down at all, because the market's always going to move 100% the opposite of where most people are positioned. But that is the major count, and this will then be, I mean, to me, that is all one super cycle, isn't it? So that is all super cycle 1, super cycle 2, super cycle 3, super cycle 4, cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, cycle 4, and this cycle 5 is now this, you know, primary, well, let's just get the count right here. I mean, not that it matters, but you get the point. Well, then that would be primary, suppose. Well, yeah, that would then be primary then. So we could say actually primary level wave 4 only started last week. So that would be, you know, intermediate 5 of a primary 5 of a cycle 5 of a super cycle 5, and then that would all be one grand super cycle. And then things get very, very interesting, and then we go into, you know, we have to deal with what's going to happen after that. But at that time, that will give people enough time to basically leg it. So that's the overall count. So that's my current take, is that either we've bottomed, I would say there's 75% sure that we have bottomed, or we're going to come down and truncate, but all we're going to do therefore is just a spring as per Wyckoff. So those have been following me for a while. You're going to be in for a treat when I release the masterclass. Easily the greatest course in human history that's ever been produced. I'm very, very proud of it. We can come back down to here and form some kind of spring. That may happen, or this is just a wave 2. I mean, the way I'm looking at it, this could easily just bust up at any time here in an inverted head and shoulders. So it doesn't necessarily have to come back and test these lows. So I would say pretty much the lows are in, you know, 75% sure, and if they're not in, we're going to get a retest. But more than likely all we're going to do right now is retrace, but sooner or later a big vertical move is coming as we climb the wall of worry, which is basically how these markets end up bottoming out. Okay, the news gets more and more bearish, but actually what's going on here is secret undercover accumulation, and they've actually been accumulating. Those of you who can read volume, they've actually been accumulating here for over 3 weeks, knowing that this move is coming. So that's my current take. I think there's a very real possibility of that happening. Obviously this move was quite definitely was not expecting this. I mean, you know, still you never want to be a rabbit in this sort of headlight sort of thing. So I sold within 3 days because something didn't look quite right. We were running that as an AB, as a 1 2 1 2 3 4 5, but this then, the fact that the wave 4 is now not here, it's now here, it extends this cycle more in terms of time. That's really what surprised me about this whole move down. This cannot be the big one, because number one, I did not see it coming. That in itself is a big reason. But number two, in terms of time, it seems a little bit early. Okay, had this been in 2022, 100% I would have called the top and called that day, but it seems early. There's more people to, unfortunately, get trapped in this move now back towards 30,000, and you know, there's going to be a lot of videos out there within 2-3 years. Everyone's going to be in the videos, but actually really those of us who know what we're doing know it's just a replay of, you know, Bitcoin 20k, silver $50, real estate 2007. So that is the situation. You know, markets peak, markets bottom out on pessimism, and they grow on skepticism, they mature on optimism, and they peak on euphoria, or as Suji Knight would call it, when everyone's trying to be in the videos, like on Bitcoin 20k. That's the kind of level that we need to get to for markets to peak. Markets don't peak when everyone thinks we're going to crash 90% and there's a pandemic going on. So unfortunately, the pain trade right now is actually, the greatest pain right now is going to be being short. So it's too late to be short, and it's all the risk now is now back up to the upside. So it's going to be, you know, the most exciting 2 years, I think. I mean, this was pretty exciting, I suppose. We had some excitement here, and you know, this was some nice moves up in here. That was obviously a very exciting time to the downside, although not for a good reason, of course, very, very bad. And here, you know, post long-term capital management got a very, very nice parabolic move. So this is now going to be the most shocking move, and like I said, the pain trade is to the downside, and all the risk, all the reward right now is to the upside. Now, of course, it's very much a stock pickers market. I can't imagine Ford or Boeing ever making it to all-time new highs. I think that's extremely unlikely. However, as always, leaders lead. So I don't be surprised if Apple and Microsoft are back at all-time new highs within 120 days, you know, within 90 days. So that's just the way markets move. But like I said, you know, you know, that's just my take, and I think I'll leave it there. So good luck to everyone. Good luck to whatever you're doing. Stay safe out there. If you want to join the group, then you know what to do. Gonna get a huge video on the stock market, oil, Bitcoin tomorrow. So if you want to pay in crypto, it's a couple of months in advance. You can just shout me a message on Facebook Messenger, and if you want some education, it's there. And the masterclass is coming, and it's going to be great. So watch out for that. I'll see you guys on the next video.